right, good morning, everybody. It's always a beautiful day in Milwaukee on November 19th. A little bit of rain, a little bit of dark and gloomy skies, but we'll get rock and rolling. All right, so I got a few updates for the group, both organizationally as well as I'm going to give you the market stats post-election. And one of the most frequent questions I get during an election season is what happens to the market? What happens to the market? What happens coming out of an election season? What happens to the market? Here's what I would tell you. What happens coming out of a market does not matter who wins office in terms of if it's left or right. The statistics are pretty black and white in terms of how the market reacts once there's certainty. Okay. And that's the important piece to remember. I don't want that message to get lost. The market reacts when there's certainty. Okay. So we'll go into that. But first, just quick right up front, couple of organizational announcements. So last week, Thursday, we entered into an agreement and notified the associates in the Prestige office that we entered into a partnership with the Prestige office, which is 51 total agents that do about roughly 210 million in overall production. For context, it was the one Keller Williams in southeastern Wisconsin that wasn't underneath our umbrella. And now heading into 2025, that group will be folding into the larger KWMKE umbrella, and look forward to welcoming them in. And we have what we call the GT Task Force. The Germantown Task Force is working hard to help those associates currently within the Prestige office transition into our environment and help and learn and understand how our economies of scale can help them build their business, and help them continue to grow, and how they take advantage of everything that we have to offer, being at our size and scale that they might not have otherwise known or had access to previously. So we're incredibly excited about that, and look forward to what we can do in organically expanding into Ozaukee and Washington County immediately with scale as we continue to grow in the southeastern Wisconsin market. I will also tell you from just a perspective, and there will be a note that will be coming out this afternoon helping give more context to that partnership and what that means. But the other question I get frequently, and Dan Wild asked me this last week, is like, so what is the vision for KWMKE, or what is, Charlie, your vision, or what is it that you plan to do, or where do you plan to go? Here's the truth. I really don't desire to do much outside of things in southeastern Wisconsin, inclusive of west to Dane County. Okay. I'm not going to be a leader that chases things across the country. I'm not going to be a leader that goes and does things in other geographical areas. I have one rule of thumb. I walk my kids to school every day. I tuck them in at night. There you go. That's how I lead, and I get emotional about it because I make decisions based on what I want to do professionally with how I want to live my life personally. Okay. And so I wanted you to hear that from me as a leader, to say, we aren't chasing things just to chase things. We're chasing things to be strategic around opportunities for growth and our ability to continue to operate to provide you economies of scale. Okay. In that, as we look forward into 2025, we had to make some tough decisions as it relates to leadership, structure changes, people. How we're structuring the team is going to look slightly different in 25 than it did in 24. And the reason why we have to look at things and do things and make tough decisions as it relates to people is what we did to get us to where we are isn't going to help us to get us to where we're going in order to serve you in an appropriate level. Here's the truth. When we started Keller Williams 10 years ago, we had no vision for what it is today. That's the truth. It was supposed to be one location with 30 or 40 people, and we were going to be really happy at that. Today, we got a lot more than that. But it puts a lot of pressure because we've bootstrapped this thing to get us to where we are. And now we have to think more strategically around how we structure the organization. And in that, it causes challenges in terms of how we look at people, how we look at leaders, who's in what seats, and how we deliver value to associates so that you feel the cost benefit relationship is equitable and that you get what you need out of the relationship. So in that, this morning I made the announcement. Damn. Look, I had to move on from Josh. This isn't public yet, I also had to move on from Diana. And so there are decisions that weigh on me personally very heavy. And I share that with you because I want you to know that I don't make these decisions light. I don't take them lightly. And I really, really lost a lot of sleep over them. But it's what I thought we needed to do in order to move the organization forward, in order to find great leaders. And I think that's the challenge of looking at what we've built and what we continue to do and how we continue to serve is, are we doing right by the associates based on our size and scale? And do we need to rethink about who's in what seats? Okay. Now I say that about two great leaders that I love, trust, and respect. I'm helping them land on their feet. I'm helping them find their next gig. I will be an advocate for them. And it was a decision that I've been wrestling with for the last several months. And unfortunately we had to make it. So I wanted to provide you guys an update on a global scale on things I'm thinking about, where we are as an organization, exciting things that are happening, and things that, like, unfortunately, we have to make tough decisions around the structure and of the shape of the business. So I'm in Tosa today to host the Tosa Town Hall with those impacted by the decisions that we had to make in terms of a leadership transition. And for those that are interested in discussing this more, like, I'm totally available. And I want you to know that this is a decision that I had to make. And it rests with me. And so I'm happy to talk about it with anybody who would like to talk about it offline or address it personally. Cool. All right. In that, I'm going to jump into closing out our United Way campaign. To whom much is given, much is expected. And for context to this, and giving back to where we live, work, and play, look, here's the thing. When I worked at Molson Coors, I was on the Molson Coors United Way campaign, and I was fortunate for 4 years to help raise over $1 million for United Way campaign. Now, Molson Coors as an organization is significantly larger with a much bigger economic impact in our region than we are. And yet, at our size and scale, I also looked at it and said, we could be doing so much more. We could be doing so much more. So 3 years ago, with the help of Ginger Lazovic, we launched a United Way campaign, and we raised $6,000 in the first year. And look, $1 more that raised today is better than $1 raised that we didn't raise yesterday. And so I was really pleased with $6,000. Then last year I said $6,000 was good, but like, I expect a lot more out of this group. And we raised $20,000. And then this year I challenged the group and said, hey, look, like, 20,000 was really cool, but what if we did 25? And for context, last year we like just eked over the 20,000 range, right? And part of it, I think, was seeding the idea of what the purpose of the United Way and how we play a part in the United Way campaign and the partner organizations it participates in. And what I was shocked by this year was the response from the associates in terms of understanding the importance of giving. And again, I don't say that lightly, because whether you give $5 or $50 or $500, it's the act of giving is what's important. And learning how to give is important, because giving of your time, treasure, and talent, talent, and treasure is vitally important as to how we move our communities forward. So in that, this year, I just wanted to say thank you on behalf of the organization, because we crushed our goal. Unfortunately, the goal I set for us next year was reached this year, which makes me rethink what we need to do moving forward. And I also want to specifically call out two people. One, Ginger Lazovic, who's on the United Way campaign for Southeastern Wisconsin and being a true champion for the campaign. But two, one person in particular, I think, really pushed this over the edge by utilizing his electrolyte personality and reminding the group the importance of giving where we live in a way that didn't seem as if he was coming out with his hand out asking for money. And that is the effort and the impact that Willis made on the campaign and everything he did to try and drive engagement to get you guys to pay attention in order to give where we live. So Willis, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank you for everything that you did to pour into this year's campaign to help us achieve our results. And this year we raised $32,235. Yeah, it's incredible stuff. Again, I blew the goal I had for us next year out of the water, so I have to rethink where we're going next year. But the other part of it was the roster engagement rank. And the North Shore office is going to get a food truck for lunch one day. And hint, hint, anybody who would like to have food, it's going to be there during a window of time. You are welcome. And it's going to be on a Tuesday, so you can come for Tuesday team meeting and then have lunch afterwards and collaborate with your peers. But here was the purpose to it. It wasn't based on who contributed the most amount of money. It was how many of our associates contributed, because we were trying to reward the act, not reward the sum. And so that was the purpose behind the food truck activity this year. So congrats to North Shore. 40% of our overall agent roster participated in the United Way campaign, and innovation coming in at number 2 at 27% engagement. So congrats to everyone who participated. And with that, I am flipping it over because we have some raffle prizes that we put together to thank those that participated. Now, here's the deal. We had 9 people who gave over $1,000. Okay. And I put together what I thought was some pretty cool prizes. And I know because people texted me and said I gave $1,000 hoping to win. So for those that took the leap of faith in the campaign and were our largest contributors, I'm not doing a raffle for you. I will personally reach out to you, and I'm going to offer you the choice because I'm grateful for what you gave. And for that choice, I will connect with you on how you can redeem that for those that gave over $1,000 within the campaign, because I don't want it to be a raffle for those that gave at the highest levels. I want it to really, truly reward. With that, I'm flipping it over to Cotty, who's going to run us through the raffle levels for the $500 and $100 levels, who's going to do the spinner live so that you guys know that this isn't fixed.
Can you see the spinner?
Yeah. So what are we doing with first, Cotty or Willis?
Let's go with 100 and then 500, right?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, here we go. No whammies.
Oh, start with the Sundex.
We're starting with Sundex. Christian camera. Sundex gift card. Willis, you got that? All right, next we're doing what? Quick Trip gift card? All right, here we go. We'll see you next time. Who's it gonna be? Spicy chicken sandwich. Smith. They'll see you next time, sister. All right, next up we got a one-on-one with Ruth. Carla! Scott just lost out. All right, next is a one-on-one with Bo, our bold coach from last year. Coaching opportunity. Our winner. He's texting. He's texting and winning. All right. Next up we have, what do we have? A coaching call with Ashley Lund, I believe. Okay. Here we go. Oh, I shouldn't win. I don't win. We'll spin again. We'll spin again. I shouldn't be on there. But proof I donated. Oh, Kim doesn't win either. Kim doesn't get it either. The leadership team showing up. Oh my God. Another leadership person. Okay. Oh, sorry.
The beautiful thing is you can see how many people participated at the $100 level.
Kenzie Brogan. I thought it was gonna be another one of those. All right, a one-on-one with Charlie.
Be careful what you ask for in this one-on-one.
Oh, this is $100 to any charity of your choice. Okay, Charlie, you're next. This is $100 match to any charity of your choice.
Well, I'm writing the check for this anyways, so I will, we can connect on it on a one-on-one with whoever.
Lauren Siegel. Here. So move you once. All right, one-on-one with Charlie. Includes lunch or drinks, bring tissues. It might get emotional.
Come on, come on, come on.
Lauren won again. And that counts because she got a ticket for every 100. All right, next is a one-on-one with Maureen Stale. With drinks or lunch? Noah. No, Gossman Group, Peter G. Lunch with Maureen. Rick's here. I don't know how he feels about that. Lunch with his wife. Okay, those were all the $100 prizes. We're gonna move over to the $500 prize. First up is a round of golf at Shaniqua Golf Club. Alex, hope you're a golfer. Next is a round of golf at Milwaukee Country Club. Ooh, ah.
And if you aren't a golfer, I'll get you dinner and drinks.
Someone on Jay's team. Jay will make that decision. All right, next up is one ticket to family reunion or mega camp.
These people had good odds.
Peter G. There we go.
I think Peter diversified his winning opportunity based on the raffle items.
He's laughing. All right, next up is an airline ticket to family reunion. Who's coming to Vegas with me this year? Jason. Which means, Andy, you got the ticket to Bolds 2025.
That was fixed,
Perfect.
Stillman. Stillman, we knew you needed that, so.
Swear this wasn't fixed. You are all here. All right, that's it. Back to you, Charlie.
Awesome. Love it. Hopefully, oops. One sec. That's my Badger football team for Halloween. All right. So guys, thanks for jumping into the United Way. 32,000 across this group is no small feat, and really appreciate those that participated. And we will run the campaign back again next year with obviously the prizes were a good hit and the engagement on the food truck was a hit. So we'll run it back, maybe with some new wrinkles next year. All right. With that, Energage Top Workplaces survey is still out. It is out through, I believe, the end of this month. If you wouldn't mind participating, it comes from Energage. Survey results are all anonymous. It helps us benchmark versus our peers. All right. With that, Sheriff Reed, we had an appraiser come on and talked about their point of view and what the agents need to know. Sheriff, what did these guys learn on Monday from Mr. Schley?
Yes, Dan Schley came in and talked. He was absolutely terrific. Lots of good information. And we had a good crowd on contract training to listen to Dan and ask him questions. But I thought I would pick out some of the plum responses that he had and share it with everybody today. So I do thank the people that showed up on Monday, but here are the, he kept saying, and I know it's true, not all appraisers are the same. But this is definitely coming from Dan, who's one of the top appraisers, and the Schley family has a reputation going back to Bob, I believe, as being the top appraisers, especially in the North Shore. But he's saying these are things he would like us to know. As a listing agent, your responsibility is to assist the appraiser with as much information possible. I even used to put it in my listing presentation that I would help the appraiser. You can share your comps, market condition, multiple offers, everything. He said as much information as possible. You can show up at the appraisal if you want, but he asked, I love it. He asked, please don't follow me around. So I understand that, but you can show up there and hand over the information if you want. But he said, take a nice seat in the living room. Most apps, that's not apps. Most comparables use 1 to 2 years. And that's pretty much what I think we do in comparative market analysis as well. Appraisers are hired by the buyer's lender. So they're working for the lender, and the lender is either on a program or selectively picking the appraiser for the loan. Lenders, as we all know, want personal property listed in a bill of sale, not to be added to the value of the property. Dan was saying, I don't want to be giving value to, you know, a BMW in the garage or things like that. So keep those separate. He's going to appraise the property, and that's it. Next slide. I'm not sure any of you or all of you know this, but appraisers measure the square footage of the property by the external width and length of the house. That is everything encompassing is the square footage. So when you're sharing square footages between agents, it can vary quite a bit depending on who did the square footage measurement, but an appraiser is going to measure it the measurement of the entire house. So that's doubled if it's a two-story, a straight two-story. If it's got slanted roofs, a bungalow or a Cape Cod, the second floor is measured width by length by up to 5 feet on the wall to ignore the sloping ceilings, lack of square footage. So just for you to know that and know that there are many different other ways that square footage can be measured. The value of a finished basement is not dollar for dollar for what the cost of finishing was. A lot of sellers will say, I spent $100,000 on this basement, but it doesn't mean that the appraiser is going to give it a value of $100,000. If a single party, this is especially important, he wanted to get across. If selling a single party or a FSBO, add the information to the sale in MLS. Put in a few photos and some pertinent information for the appraisers to see. They hunger for information, obviously. So on those types of listings, that's when they sell, add some information to them for the appraiser's sake. And this is another thing. I mean, this goes back way back, but when an appraiser calls you and say it was a listing of yours that sold, or it was a property that you were involved in, and they want to know some information on that property that's not in MLS. So they'll call you, you know, what do you know about this property, such and such, it sold, you know, 6 months ago or something. Please answer them. Please respond to them. It's a good-natured relationship that we want to keep up with our appraisers. And so when they call to ask for this information, please give it to them. I was surprised. He said very few agents respond to him on that. So I think, so yeah, and he totally repeated this over. The utmost value of a property is the old time adage, location, location, location. So is it style? Is it size? Is it, you know, other aspects of a property? Is it how much money it is? It's all about location. And that's the biggest value assigned to a property is the location. So those were some highlights from Dan. And if you want to see the whole thing, it was an hour. It's in the contract training library that we did yesterday
On the YouTube channel.
on the YouTube channel.
There you
Now,
go.
Next slides were steps from last week, but we want to keep reminding you about the license renewal and renewing your license with the DSPS. Also making sure that you pay your dues to GMAR. Where you go
email.
to get the she doesn't want the certificates from each course that you pass, but send Steph a copy of your confirmation email once complete. So when you're done with DSPS, you got the confirmation email, send that certificate to Steph. So
All
need,
needs to be complete by December 14th.
right?
That's right. Sheriff Reed,
Yes.
I appreciate it. And for those of you who don't know, we learned this yesterday on an all leadership call. We were explaining to some members on our team why we call her the sheriff. And the sheriff has been involved in residential real estate in southeastern Wisconsin since 1984. And so the sheriff is here. And appreciate you, the sheriff. Thanks,
Thank
Joni.
you. Thanks a lot.
All right, with that, wrapping it up with a little training and education, I'll go into lore and the market stats post-election. So reminder, next week is the week of Thanksgiving. We will host no team meetings on next week, Tuesday. So then we will come back the first week of December. All offices will be closed beginning at noon on Wednesday of next week in order for our leadership teams to begin their holiday, and then they will be closed effectively on Thursday and Friday. For those of you who need to get into an office or need to host an appointment, post Wednesday at noon, your fobs will give you access to any of our locations 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we'll come back to you on Tuesday following post Thanksgiving. You can see the upcoming November training calendar on the calendar here coming up. And then today at 10:30 post the team meeting in the North Shore office is all around how do you list and sell vacant land around with our land team that sells land all over the state of Wisconsin. Ed and Matt will be going through helping you understand what it takes to sell vacant land. Great team. Also on Thursday at 3 o'clock in the innovation office, we're hosting a quarterly Rainmaker Mastermind for those that lead teams all around the challenges that you face of leading a team of people and or how you continue to grow and scale your business. So we're going to continue this Rainmaker series heading into 2025 on a quarterly basis. Next up is the December training calendar. Tons of things to point out in the month of December. I'll let you dive into it as you get this information, but just wanted to point out the offices will be closed the 24th and 25th and 26th. I think it's not fair to our teams to have the Sunday scaries on a Wednesday night when you're celebrating the holidays with your families. And so I've done this every year. I always make sure that they can enjoy the 25th with their families, wherever that might be. And then just so you guys can plan ahead, the 31st and 1st, which is a Tuesday, Wednesday, the following week, the offices will be closed again. Again, you have access to the offices the 24 hours, 7 days a week. These schedules get a little bit of wonky as holidays fall in the middle of weeks, but just want to make sure that people are planning ahead accordingly. A couple other things to highlight in terms of the month of December. We're going to be hosting vision board sessions across all 4 of the locations: Innovation, North Shore, Southwest, Lake Country. If you don't believe in the power of vision boards, then you don't believe in the power of visualization or affirmations. And I will tell you, I've been doing a vision board for the last 8 to 10 years. My mom used to do it with us as kids, and we would always look at her and say, "You're crazy. This is an art project." And then the art project became reality. And as we started to visualize what we desired to do within our lives, I understood the power of the vision boards. And so we've been big proponents of it. And so there are 2 on the 3rd and 2 on the 10th for vision boards in the early part of December to help you set your vision and place these in areas where you see them. Lastly, the KW holiday party is Thursday, December 5th. We are now effectively over, I think, 600 people who have RSVP'd. It's you and a +1. If it tells you anything, I will say this. Of all things that we do, the holiday party gets the highest level of engagement of all of our associates. And if that doesn't tell you how fun of a party or event it is, that's all you really need to know. But feel free. The doors open at 6 and we have a great evening lineup for the group. It's a great way for you to bring spouses, partners, friends, and to understand what it is, the community that we all have and why it is so special. All right, jumping into market stats in the language of real estate. Coming out of October, where does the group sit and what does it look like? I updated the brokerage top 10 brokerage brands through 2024. Shared a little bit of the statistics around the why and how our community is so special and how we cultivate and collaborate at such a high level. Basically, here's what you need to know. The top 10 brands do 60% of the southeastern Wisconsin residential market. And the productivity of our associates, they sell homes 25% faster, working in price points 11% higher than the market averages. The reason why I'm leading with this post training and education is I think sometimes our group takes the training and education for granted, and yet how we pour into training and education is what shows up in the results that you guys do, and to not take it for granted, the culture and community that we have of collaboration and connectivity. It is special. Many people always ask for the luxury statistics when they're going into luxury listing appointments. This is through actually as of November 18th through year to date. Interestingly to note, here's what you need to know. We have 14% total market share in southeastern Wisconsin, yet of the luxury market, we have 19.8%. We over-index in the luxury space, and the luxury space in southeastern Wisconsin is defined of homes listed 750,000 and above. We sell 53% more than the number 2 brokerage brand, and we sell them 37% faster. Come list with me. Okay, there you go. Get a little odds and ends. GCI for the month of October was 4.8 million. It was off about 5% versus October of 23, and yet year to date, it's 49 total million is what we've paid out in GCI, and it is up 4% total year to date. Really, really incredible stuff. And the reason why I share this, it shows the power of the community that you're a part of. Profit share, big number in the month of October. We will be profit sharing $71,000. For perspective, the month of September was $51,000. So it's not as if this always follows seasonal trends. October was 71,000. It was up 15% versus October of last year. And year to date, it brings a total to 730,000 that has been paid out for September profit or October profit share. My apologies, that will be paid out in the next 2 days. So for those of you that aren't aware of what you're getting, here you go. I shared this last month and I love sharing it again this month. You know why? The amount of questions I got from this was profound. And I want to provide a little bit of clarity. This is just for 1 month. For 1 month. This is not an annualized number. So handful of people to shout out. Abigail Jacqua, $1,087. Abby Wall, $321. Schroeder at $188. Stillman, $2,400. Stabler, $373. Ashley Meyer, $630. Bruce Gallagher, $940. Corey Bolt, $580. Elizabeth Mitchke, $201. Janine Warner, $385. Jay Schmidt, $816. Joni Reed, the sheriff, at $118. Josh Holt, $119. Julie Litkin, $422. There's your car payment this month, Julie. Love it. Karen Trimble, $999. Okay. Katie Falk at $1,100. Kathleen Rosenheimer at $686. Katie Thomas at $1,780. Kevin Gardy at $629. Kimmy Herbert at $344. Marcus Auerbach, $115. Nick Fetting, $116. Nicole McGonigal, $800. Randy Young, $662. Rick Reuven, $883. Shauna Knight, $152. Sherry Wild, $619. Stephanie Minnick, $628. Tamika Jones Clay, $526. Just a handful of people to call out for 1 month's worth of profit share. Very profound on the impact it can have.
I got a lot of questions on this last month too. People didn't know how they get on this list. Can you share how they get on this list?
Yeah. So everybody who enters into our KW community names a sponsor. And if you don't know, 48% of our profits on a monthly basis go back to associates in the profit share pool based on if you have an associate who names you when they join our community. And so it is a reward for those that help us cultivate our community. And one of the things that I hear in recruiting a lot is, oh, profit share is, first of all, we never lead with profit share because it's never the value piece why people join us. Okay. Second piece, it's not a multi-level marketing scheme. It's not this, that, or the other. It is cultural. And what I mean by that is people understand that when Kevin Gardy helps a new agent write their first listing contract, or when Sherry Wild teaches Ignite, or when anyone does anything within our environment and community and they're raising the level of productivity, the byproduct of productivity is profit. And that's why we share it. And so profit share is cultural because it is a reward for those that help elevate the level of professionalism and productivity based on the influence that you have within the marketplace. Sweet. If you want to participate, there's 700,000 laying around that the people are grabbing, and we want to help you be able to participate in it. Cool. In that cool, exciting announcement in the profit share for the top 15 in North America, the Keller Williams MKE umbrella comes in at number 12th across the country. So, you know, I share this with you as a way to say that we believe that we are good stewards of the business model. We do it in a way to ensure that we are sharing in the profits with our associates. And we use it as a way to also look up, because it is funny how Milwaukee isn't the biggest city in the world, but when you do things collectively as a group, you can make a big impact.
How many market centers are there total?
Great question. The question was, how many are there total? There's over 1,000, over 1,000. MKE, our group across the five locations, is top 12 in the entire system. So cool. All right, market insights. The question I get all the time: what happens to a market post-election? Okay, here's what you need to know. Sometimes I give you these like funny little singing song and dances, right? And before I went into it this summer, I said, the market is funky. Ready? Everybody clap your hands. Clap, clap, clap. But I do that to make you pay attention. Here's the truth. What happens in election cycle pre-election is buyers and sellers don't like uncertainty. And so what happens is the market gets funky, because things will happen that are outside of normal trends. Sometimes, like, for example, this year, June was brutal. July was great. August was good. September was soft. October was flat. And flat is better than soft. And so when I say that the market is funky, what you have to know going into elections is people don't like uncertainty with their largest financial assets. Okay. So last month, and I thought this was very appropriate to share with you as we think about heading into 2025, this is the 4-county sales area through the third quarter. And my commentary to you last month and the reminder to you this month is what goes up must come down, and what goes down must come up. This is data going back to 2000 through 2024. And if you look at this, what do you notice about 2024? It's slightly up, okay? Here is something I shared with you back in December and January of this past year. And I said, if the market is slightly up, we should be happy. Okay. That's basically where we're trending to. The market is going to be slightly up heading into 2024. I think the market is going to continue to be up in 2025 and beyond. Here's a very important statistic that is not in this presentation. Okay. Last year in 2023, was the lowest residential transaction volume we had seen across the US in roughly a 30-year span, okay? And yet, over the last 30 years, in 2023, there's 70 million more people within our population within the US than there had been over the last 30 years. And so I've talked a lot over the last several years about how we are entering into a period of a demand shift within our marketplace as people are buying their first home a little older, making decisions to enter into relationships a little bit older, starting families a little bit older, and based on the US demographic of the workforce, where people are coming of age now, and where I've been very bullish on the next 5 to 10 years within our industry. And if you look at over a 30-year span, there's 70 million more people in the US today than there was over a 30-year period. It's why I continue to believe that the tide will continue to rise, okay? Now, one of the other, and I talked about how survive and advance, our time is coming. Just keep playing the game, have the evergreen mindset, and you'll be fine. Now, in the 4-county area, this is, I think, an incredibly interesting statistic I shared with you again last month. And it was time in the market beats timing the market. This is price appreciation going back to 2000, okay? And over a 24-year hold period, a consumer in southeastern Wisconsin who's owned the residential real estate has seen 146 price appreciation. Over a 10-year span, it's a 96% appreciation. A 5-year span, it's 38% appreciation. And the average homeowner stays in their house every 5 to 7 years. And so the key to it is when people are asking if they're buying or selling too high or too low, is look at the time horizon of the hold and help them understand how time in the market beats timing the market in order to make good financial decisions with their asset. Okay. Now, everyone is jealous of what you've got. No one is jealous of how you got it. Everyone wants the view, but no one wants the climb. So let's pay attention as to what we're doing into 2025 and how you're setting yourself up for success heading into the first quarter. Okay. New inventory units. In October, there were 2,409 inventory units that came to the market. That was down 8% versus September, but up 4% versus October of last year. Okay. Here's my point. Seasonally, we always see new inventory start to decline when you look at it from a September to October standpoint. And when you look at it October of this year versus October of last year, the fact that we're up 4% within the marketplace is in a good spot. Okay. What we didn't want to see is we didn't want to see continued receding of new inventory units coming into October of this year. And remember, this is on the epicenter of the election. Okay. And so what we didn't want to see is more uncertainty with people bringing inventory to the market. So the fact that the market was up 4% on new inventory is actually very healthy for us. Okay. Total inventory, there was no change from September. And in October of last year, it was up just slightly. Again, what we didn't want to see is a receding inventory level heading into the election when we look at this from an October standpoint. Expired inventory units, I will say this until I'm blue in the face to this group. There's two things you need to pay attention to, okay? Don't be canceled, and there is an opportunity to be second in the marketplace. Why? Expired listings have continued to rise month over month in 2024. If it's not a part of your strategy in 2025 and you're looking to diversify in order for continued organic growth, expired listings is an opportunity to look at because people are giving listing agents the hook faster. The lesson in it is don't get the hook. And if you know a listing that gives the hook, there is an opportunity to be in second place. Got me? All right, sales absorption rates. This is important because this is the percentage of inventory that goes under contract in a given month. Demand remained stable. It was only off 1% versus September of this year, and it was up 1% versus October of this year. The fact that demand remained consistent is good. We didn't want to see this be altered too much this close to the election in October. Average days on market, this is where things did start to slow down in terms of velocity and rate of sale. Not unexpected. People are obviously entering into a market and being more cautious versus September. It was 19% slower. Also, we're entering into a seasonal where it's going to get longer. Look, it's going to get longer in November and it's going to get longer in December and it's going to get longer in January until it starts to get faster again. Okay. So we're in that period of time in the period of year. Units going under contract, again, demand metric, it's operating at very similar levels as what we've seen. September, it was only off by 1%. October of last year, it was up 3%. Again, we weren't looking for significant changes this close to the election. And then the impacts on pricing, the good news is versus September, there was no significant change versus October of last year. It actually went up pretty substantially, in average up 11% and up 12% on the median, okay? The reason this is important is because if you recall, the last 3 to 4 months, we had saw appreciation levels around 4 to 6%. The fact that we saw up 11 and up 12 was the little bit of a spike in appreciation in October and something I'll be paying attention to in November to see if we're starting to see a trend where appreciation is picking back up again now that we have some certainty. Okay. And when you look at it on a price per square foot, which is a static measure, it's basically a net equal change. No big deal. So how does the impact of an election, what happens and where are we headed? Here's what you need to know. On the demand side of the market, demand bounced back a bit and did not soften. That was the key I was looking for because in September, it softened. And my concern was heading into October with uncertainty, if demand continued to fall back was not a good metric. The fact that it remains stable is healthy, okay? It means buyers did not get more cautious. Election cycles always cause them to be cautious because of uncertainty. Capital markets have been a bit of a roller coaster, and yet the stock market continues to do really, really well if you just look at it over the last 3 to 4 months. And rates have been inconsistent because as the Fed has dropped rates, it hasn't impacted mortgages. It's been a little wonky, okay? Now, price appreciation. Appreciation gains have leveled off to an extent in the short term, yet We had starting to see a pace that was not appreciable, that was sustainable. It's a healthy slowdown. And yet again, in October, we saw a +11 on the average and +12 on the median. Tells me we'll look at November to see how people respond to certainty. What to expect post-election. Expect November, December, and January to operate at seasonal levels. Okay. And what I mean by that is if November, December, and January are flat to slightly up, it means that 2025 will come back faster. If November, December, and January taper down, it would be a concern going into a changeover in an administration. However, what we saw coming out of September into October was no change, which is good. We want no change heading into 2025. Buyers and sellers always like certainty. Just remember that. I expect to see a pop in February and March. It happens every time we have certainty, and you will see a pop in February or March that will help propel us into what I call the spring and summer explosion. Okay. Now, the challenge in it, as I have been challenging you last week and previous weeks before, is take advantage of the January and February period. Don't wait for the pop. Okay. Force things to happen, and you can start doing that now. Lastly, here's my phrases of focus for the group. Chop wood, carry water. Just means be consistent, show up every day, and do your job. If you do that, you'll be fine. Lastly, I want to shout out to the group. 32,000 is no small feat in basically a 2-week span. 2 weeks raising $32,000 amongst this group is incredible. And it's how we make an impact in our communities, how you make an impact in your clients' lives. And for that, I thank you. Guys, it's a beautiful day in Milwaukee. Enjoy November 19th, and we will see you post-Thanksgiving. Have a great holidays, guys. We'll see you.